Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Superficial Spirit. So happy to be here again with you, my millions of fans. And we invite him on the show to hear what he thinks. And he can also bench press a bunch of twinks.
I can bench press at least two twinks.
Would they have to be like stacked or would it be separate?
I could probably lift them like on. I could hold like I could suspend them in the air, hanging from each arm, for sure.
Oh,
And in order to
okay.
bench press them, I guess they would have to be stacked like vertically. Yeah,
Well, if I see you at a party sometime soon, I'm definitely gonna make that happen.
let's definitely try it. Um,
Yeah, I
poo
like it.
poo 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 pee pee is my introduction for today.
Love it. You know what? Every time I'm like, damn, I don't have time to think of an intro, but then it just comes to me because I'm incredibly creative and witty. That's
Yeah, I
why
wish
that's why
I
I have a
I wish I
podcast.
were. Yeah, it would help if I
You
were.
are, you are.
Oh, thank you.
So I just got back from Toronto. I was gone for a week. It was hell. It wasn't hell, but like I every time I go on a trip, I remember back to when like I was first exploring spirituality and I was like trying really, really hard to change my life. Like I'm not gonna party every weekend. I'm gonna wake up early. I'm gonna eat healthy. I'm gonna meditate. I'm gonna go to the gym and all this stuff. And when you first try and make those changes, it feels impossible or like you stop, you stop, and it's like a trial and error until you like build a lifestyle that you feel is balanced and good for you. And I feel like after 10 years I've gotten there. Every time I go away, I feel like a toddler because I'm out of my routine. I'm not sleeping in my own bed. I don't get to make my own meals. I have to socialize every day with family. And I was in Toronto, so I went to like some work things too in real life, and I found it so draining. It was also there was a wedding. It was a lot, and I came back. My head was throbbing. Like I actually feel sick after socializing. And I've Googled before, can you get headaches from socializing? Because I feel like I'm making it up, but I also feel like no, my body, I'm like tired in my bones. My head is throbbing. I feel so tired and so drained. And I know that part of it was like, traveling, flying for 5 hours, blah, blah, blah. But even if I go out for dinner with a group of people, I'll come back the next day. I am like social hangover. And I don't know if it's real. It seems like mixed. Like some things online were like, if you're holding your breath or if you're not like if you're talking if you have like something to do with your jaw can cause physical pain. No, I'm pretty sure this is just like emotional stress manifesting as like a headache. Oh, look at the pussy.
He was playing around my feet.
Oh. So yeah, that was Toronto. I came back feeling like so tired and also really it's bittersweet when you are feeling like you've set up this routine that makes you feel super good and then you leave it and you end up feeling like a child. I don't know if that happens to you.
Oh, it does. Like, did you stay with family?
Oh yeah, with Evan's parents. Yep.
It's insane how I regress to childhood when I'm have to be around my family like that. When I visit them in Calgary for whatever, a function, a wedding, Christmas, especially if I stay with them, which I've only stayed with them so far in my life. I think we're gonna try and work on that next time. Stay somewhere else because it's insane how I regress. And I get into the same, like, I mean, my family has some negative communication patterns that like are not, they're kind of dysfunctional. And we just get into that. And I'm like, I know what's happening and I can't stop it. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I
totally.
feel like a
Yeah,
child.
definitely.
I feel like how I felt, because you don't have the freedom to, you can't get in your car because you've left your car at home, or whatever.
Mhm.
You can't go where you want. You have to do everything the family wants to do, and it's literally like being dragged around like a child again.
Yeah, it's awful. And I am an introvert. Like when I stopped partying all the time, I realized that I actually am not outgoing. I was just drunk and high at the club. And now like in social situations, like small social situations, I would say I'm outgoing. Like if you and I go out for dinner, I'm not going to be shy. But if I went to a party and there was a bunch of people, I would rather just like die because it takes a lot out of me to like put that on. And traveling is fucking hard. Like man, my meditation in the morning sets me up for the day. And when I'm traveling, it's hard to do that. Also, though, Evan and I talk about this a lot. When you are practicing something like mindfulness, or you're trying to bring like self-awareness to everything you do, traveling and getting out of your routine is actually the time when you should be using those muscles, right? It's easy to be good or to like stay in your routine when you have complete control over everything that's in your life. But when you leave it, are you able to keep that mindfulness happening? Are you able to stay grounded and not spiral in your mind? And I'm so. it was an extra crazy trip because we were well, there was a wedding and it was a Jewish wedding, and it was obviously very intense with everything that's going on in the world. So I think like even like the thought of going to it, I was a little like stressed because I just didn't, Evan's family is Jewish. There's obviously a lot going on in the world and lots going on social media, and I found it that's just sort of like looming in the background. So yeah, I'm back from Toronto. I'm feeling tired. I'm happy to talk to you, but damn, the world is fucking crazy right now. Hey.
It's fucking crazy. I have my two closest friends are Palestinian, so it's a whole thing. The thing that has been crazy for me is just to like, I mean, obviously social media is like an absolute shit show, and like this is a propaganda war, so I don't like it's difficult to trust anything. But what I find people like always default to, and this is something I like to I've talked about on the show before, but I really like to make the impression is that like everyone always immediately blames the media for their own misunderstanding of something. So like I observe the same people sharing like one story and saying this headline is so pro one side, it's so biased, the media is disgusting and they're lying to you. And then some information will come out that turns out that headline is actually completely true. And those same people will be like, well, the media lied to me about it anyway, and that's why I got it wrong. And it's like, no, you're looking at many different sources. It's called confirmation bias. You absorb and you like the ones that reflect your existing biases. It's not quote unquote the media. It's some of the media you're looking at versus other media. Some of the media has been right, others haven't. The mainstream media largely got this one right. There was one, I mean, people will know if they're living in current day and time, they'll know what story I'm talking about. But the media largely got this one right, largely reserved having any definitive like positions on it, which is not the media's job anyway. And then everyone else reacts as if the media lied to them the whole time. The mainstream media got it right. Social media was misleading you. Your friends and your contacts that you don't know, they were misleading you with like memes people made and videos they made and TikToks they made of their own accord without any information to go on, right? And without any consequences for lying.
Totally. Yeah, it's the response to an algorithm. This is the thing that drives me insane, is because I see people passionately, constantly, confidently posting content, sharing it to their stories, and just feeling so sure that what they're sharing is right, that it's important, that they want to align themselves with a side, definitely is what I'm seeing, but also their lack of awareness of where the content is coming from, because we all should know by now that what we're consuming on social media is designed to create a reaction from us, good or bad, outrage or euphoria. I just read a book called The Chaos Machine. It's about this is how technology was designed. And when things are going good and I'm getting all the Britney memes and I'm seeing housewife drama, it's like, great. I finish social media. I feel a little spicy, but I go about my day. When things turn dark, it gets really, really hard for people to remember. And I'm including myself, because it's really easy for me to post about superficial things because I feel confident and comfortable sharing those things about Britney's pop culture, or maybe something about Evan and I. When things get really hard with really important issues like a war, Evan's whole family is Jewish, I get really nervous about social media because I can't even, like, when I'm lying awake at night these past couple of weeks, I'm really trying to figure out internally, with the knowledge I have personally with Evan and his family over the past 10 years, plus what I'm talking about with my friends, plus what I'm seeing on the news, what is it that Peter thinks? And I still am working through that. And it's complicated for me, which is why I don't share it. But if I was to impulsively share everything that I felt validated my feelings, there would be a lot of crazy shit on my Instagram. And it will probably vary from day to day, because as this story unfolds, this isn't just specifically with the war right now, but like any topic that's going on in pop culture or mainstream media or even the fringe media, things change so quickly. And with social media, it catches fire, mob mentality happens, people become really emboldened and think that they are on the right side, and then in 5 minutes the truth of the situation can come out and everything is erased. And it makes me nervous. I cringe when I see people posting it. And I also find it extremely narcissistic that all of these like extremely privileged people living in North America feel like their voice is going to change the world, or that it's adding something so important to the conversation that they need to make these reels and these lives, and they need to make art that represents the trauma that they're feeling and directly from the people. It's like, why do you feel, maybe this is my age, I don't know. Why do you feel like your voice matters so much in this situation that you need to post about it all the time? Why? What is it about you that you feel like this is important that you share? Why?
Yeah.
Why?
I mean, we were talking before the show, and I said to you that like I don't this is one thing, like I like to talk about world events on, you know, social media. I like to just throw stuff out into the void, especially if it feels like it implicates me, like if it's LGBTQ stuff and so on. But this one just doesn't, and I have no desire to get into it. I have no desire to share with my following what I think. Like I said, I have two Palestinian best friends. That's happening in the real world for me. I just don't think there's anything I can add to this conversation by posting about it on
Yeah,
social media. And people will act as though your quote unquote silence is somehow permission, right? Or somehow co-signing to whatever the side that they're on, to the opposite side of that you're somehow co-signing whatever it is they don't like that's going on. And to that I just say, go fuck yourself. I'm doing it IRL. Like I'm doing it
yeah,
IRL. I just
exactly.
have nothing to say to
Exactly.
these strangers.
This is the big difference too, and this goes back to spirituality as well, is when you're looking online to create a sense of, not a sense of direction, but when you're getting your grounding, you're sort of assessing where you sit in the larger story of the world, and social media is the only way that you're doing that. You're missing the human experience of it. And it's the same with manifesting and crystals and all that fucking psychic shit you and I and Jess used to talk about early in the show. um you're missing out on real life experiences that could be profound or divine if you're just looking at real life every day, the relationships that you have, the people that you see, the animals, the nature that can provide you a glimpse of the divine or be a spiritual experience, because you're opening yourself up to what you can see and feel around you. It's the same with like current events and world events. Is instead of digesting it all online and trying to get a sense of reality from that, talk to the people that you actually know, go out into the community and talk to these people. If you feel so strongly about this that you're posting and sharing passionately about it, go and meet these communities and go and talk to them and see how that affects, ask these people what they need. I know that that's not happening, at least with the people that I follow. They're certainly not going to any rallies. They're certainly not donating any money. I mean, they could be donating money, I guess. I don't know what's going on in the banks, and I guess they could be secretly going to rallies. I shouldn't say that, but it feels super shallow. And I think with this particular issue, because my family is Jewish and I do have family in Israel, it is even more so, feels really narcissistic and shallow for people who are not personally attached to it to feel so emboldened to share their side.
Yeah, it's kind of disgusting that something like this gets used as a clout battle online the same way. I don't know. I guess I want to say less serious world issues do. I don't know, less serious. I don't know if that's right to say. I guess that's relative. You know, suffering is relative. But yeah, just it's if you're not implicated, if you can't share anything, if you have nothing to add, it's disgusting to make this yet another clout battle of you support a team, you know, a tribal thing. My team, your team, you supported the wrong side, cancel her or whatever the fuck. Like
Yeah.
it's very silly. And the way that I guess I'll leave it there for now.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend recently, and she identifies as empathetic. She'll probably listen to this and get mad at me. I don't care. Um Whenever something was happening in her life, with her family, with her friends, with her work, she would get very upset. She would feel very emotional, and she'd be like, I just can't handle what's happening to this person. I'm just so affected by it. And I'm like, bitch, no, you're putting yourself in the center of other people's drama and making it about you. The world doesn't revolve around you and your pain. And this, we talked about fucking this in Troye Sivan, and we're also going to talk about today about like, if something is going on in the world, you can have feelings about it, but don't make it about you. It's not about your reaction. And social media has created little narcissists. We all have a brand, we all have a product, we all think we're famous if we have 10,000 followers. Like there's millions and millions and millions of people with 1 million followers on Instagram. And I it bothers me. I don't like it. It feels super shallow. And um I don't think what people are sharing online translates to the type of people they are in real life. I don't think that they are actually pushing a cause or helping these people. They're just wanting that dopamine rush of sharing something that's gonna get validation from people. That's what it seems like to me. I could be wrong, but
Yeah. And like, you can't, everyone's going to have an opinion on, let's say, some breaking story that happens. I've heard this argument about the whole sort of media literacy angle about not taking too quickly aside on a particular news story before there's facts that are out. There's an argument that follows something to the effect of like, we never have complete information. Therefore, if we're going to make opinions and like react to something, we just react to the evidence that's available at the time. And while I agree with that, that doesn't mean share that opinion publicly and be wrong. It means if I think one side did this atrocity versus the other side, I'm going to think that and wait for more information before I say anything. Not that I personally, in this case, feel like saying anything at all. But like, yeah, we react to the information we have, and you can have an opinion. I think it's likely that this side did the thing, but then it's also fair to wait before you speak about it. If you don't have anything to add, and you can't add any evidence to the story, you can't add any context, like you just end up being wrong in public and looking like a fool and potentially looking, well, like you support the wrong side, I guess, right? I mean, that's the risk, I think. And you know, I just have no desire to like preempt, especially in something that's a propaganda war like this. There's such a swirl of misinformation. There's such a swirl of, you know, mostly true facts from the mainstream media, but then there's sort of competing. There's, you know, people are aware that the mainstream media has, the Western mainstream media in particular, has a particular bias in this case. But that's not reflected in the facts that they're reporting. It's reflected in the way they report those facts. It's reflected on what's highlighted in the headlines. It's reflected in what's buried further down in the story and what's not. You know, it's reflected in wording that implicates one side in something versus the other side. I mean, those aren't lies, right? The media largely doesn't lie to you because there are huge consequences for it, but there are no consequences for your clout goblins online to lie to you, right? So
clout goblins.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I like what you said about like there's a bias, but it just doesn't change the facts of the situation. You can tell a story and guide the story, the person listening to the story in one way or another. I mean, that's what sales is. That's what the whole world is, right? You want people to buy whatever it is that you're selling, but it doesn't change the facts. And I keep thinking it doesn't fucking matter. That's my reaction when I see these posts, is like, what you think doesn't matter, but we do know that social media does have real consequences if you look at January 6th, if you look at elections, because I want to believe that all of these people posting won't affect things one way or another. But the truth is it can. Like, things pick up momentum, it affects policy, public opinion changes, and then big dramatic things can happen. So I don't know where this goes. Like, media literacy is one thing, like watching the news and trying to be unbiased, but social media is too. And I think because it's so embedded into who we are and how we identify, I don't know how you separate that. I mean, if anybody listens to the show, my identity is hugely wrapped up in early 2000s pop culture. I don't know how to separate that because it's so who I am, and I've been bombarded by those images forever. People who are 10 years younger than you and I, Derek, grew up in a much more turbulent time. Like, they have less tolerance for things, and I don't know the future of the planet. Oh, here we go. What, 10 minutes in and I'm talking about the future of humanity. But I have low faith. Like, the longer I'm alive, the less I believe in the world resolving any issues logically. And there's a podcast actually called Case 23. It's an audio, it stars Julianne Moore, and it's a dystopian is it called a show? It's not a podcast. Like, this is a podcast. It's like an audio show. But it basically takes place in the future, and there's nonstop pandemics that basically the world slowly ends. But one of the things that happens in the podcast, or in the show, is slowly but surely the justice system becomes obsolete because it's more important that we are judging people in the court of public opinion. So slowly people stop going to court, they stop getting arrested, something will happen. Social media, the mob will deem, yes, this is okay, or no, it's not, and then you basically get erased from society. You lose your family, you lose your job, you go and, I guess, wither up on the sidelines. That is a totally realistic and in plain sight conclusion, result, destination that we could be heading to. You know, like, who cares what the law says if everybody else thinks something differently?
Black Mirror, what if Instagram, but too much? Their social credit score.
Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun, dun. Yeah, so there's that. That's that on world topics.
So yeah,
Back
just
to
I mean,
Troy.
I guess if I was just gonna wrap that up, media literacy,
Yeah.
like you gotta consider the source because it's just there's a lot of swirl, there's a lot of impetus to lie going on right now. Both sides of this conflict have a lot of impetus and a lot of history of lying. This isn't a quote unquote centrist like both sides take. It's just the fact the facts surrounding this particular conflict. That's the context. The context is there's a lot of lying going on at all times, and you just have to start thinking about, where did this come from? Did I hear this on Twitter? Was it did it How reputable did it look, and did I even click the link to find out if the link actually went to X media site that it said it went to? And what is that
Mm.
media site? What are the consequences if that outlet lies? What are the consequences? Is it a big one like CNN that's going to get in big trouble? Now, of course, they do have a bias. They do flavor their things towards one side. That much is clear. Everyone knows that. But it's not going to lie about the facts. So is it
Yeah.
that, or is it like Rebel Media, which constantly lies and
Yeah.
has an incentive to do so, like, and no consequences, and no internal practices of correcting mistakes, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's just everybody wants to be the five-head genius that blames the mainstream media when they get something wrong, when they personally are mistaken, right? And they didn't actually take the time to analyze the media they were consuming.
And are you really educating yourself by scrolling through TikTok and Instagram Reels? Are you really educating yourselves? You might be getting you might be getting other people's opinions that make you feel like you're getting more insight knowledge. But I mean, how many videos were shared over the past couple of weeks that were debunked, that were fake, that were not even the city that they claimed that they were, that were old, that were video games? Like, yeah, just be aware. And if you can, talk to the people around you that may have personal ties to these communities and see how they're feeling. Same thing we talk about when the anti-trans rallies come up, and it's like, check on your friends who are trans, see how they're doing. How does this affect those people? You know, the people who are actually living and breathing this issue, not just you and your silent little bucket, honey. So that's that on that. In other news and of equal importance, Troye Sivan released a new music video called "One of Your Girls," and I squealed, obviously, because damn, he looks good in drag. I have some actually idea, like some things that I've been thinking about him doing drag in this video. One of them is like, okay, I think officially, drag is like mainstream now. It's not shocking. It's not cool. I mean, not that drag isn't cool, but it's lost its shock value, right? If Troye Sivan is doing drag in his music video and a very tame version of drag, then I think we've hit the point where it's like, okay, check. We've seen all this drag. And do you know what else I was thinking? Oh my God. Troye Sivan doing drag in this music video, and let's see how he incorporates drag into the future. Like, if this is something that he's going to continue to explore, or it's just like a one-time only thing because of the subject matter of the song, which we'll talk about in a second. But all of the drag queens who are trying to become mainstream pop stars, and then you have a mainstream pop star doing drag, and it's like in a second he has not erased what they've been trying to do, but it shows you how easy it is for somebody who is not a drag queen to be a huge platform, do drag, and then other people like Priyanka or Adore Delano or Trixie Mattel, who are trying so hard to be taken seriously as musicians and not fall into the category of drag queen music. Troye Sivan does drag, and it's like, wow, that happened pretty fucking easy. Not that he's a drag queen pop star, but suddenly the world's clashed. And I guess the impression I got was like, drag isn't that special anymore because so many people adopt it into how they're presenting their pop music now, especially for a little Twinkie pop star like Troy. It's like, it just felt like it cheapened what drag queens were doing in a way.
Really interesting. I don't think anyone can cheapen what drag queens are doing more than drag queens do on the daily. Um, I do think, I mean, I agree that it has certainly lost a cool factor that it had when it was counterculture. It's just culture now. It's not counterculture.
Yeah.
That inevitably happens when 40-year-old moms are taking their 12-year-old non-binary kids to a family-friendly drag show. Not counterculture. So it has lost a cool factor. That's not to say that there isn't a lot that's cool about it, or that it's not cool, if that's what you think.
Yeah.
But it has lost edge. I'm not sure what to think about because I had never thought of it the way you just put it, where there are full-time drag queens trying to make music, and then there are people who make full-time music that are dipping into drag. But
Yes.
I guess you can't simultaneously hold the belief that drag is for literally everyone and then gatekeep who's allowed to do it when, right?
Interesting. Yeah. I'm curious. Like, I assume that there's a lot of fans who have crossover with Troye Sivan. Like, I'm assuming these people would also go to like a Shea Coulee show or like a Alaska 5000 show. I'm assuming like there seems to be like that crossover. I've seen Troy
Yeah,
talk about drag queens. So I don't know how they would interpret it. For me, it was like, oh, he just did that in one music video, what they've been trying to do for so long. That's how
yeah,
I felt
but
about it.
mainstream media has done this for a long time. You talk about Medea, your famous depictions of drag queens or your famous pants parts in theater and TV. That's been around forever as comedy done by straight people. And I don't know really how Troy doing it is any different, except that except the way in which it serves the purpose of his music video, which I do want to talk about. But I am interested
Yes.
in this take you have on the if you, that you have on the sort of access to drag in the mainstream kind of part of it. So I'm interested in that. But yeah, I'm just not sure. Like I think it's I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that we can I don't know that we can appropriate anything more from drag. It sort of has been appropriated to the mainstream as much as I feel like it's going to.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I guess I'm curious to see how Troy evolves this
But am
part
I
of.
now the way that I feel like he's situated in the media landscape? I feel like Troye Sivan is pretty mainstream. Like he's more mainstream than Orville Peck. I feel more mainstream than
Yeah,
like I don't know Adam Lambert or something. He's not really a niche gay celebrity, is he? Like I feel like he's like
he's pretty mainstream.
regular straight people throw it on and bop to it. I feel like.
Well,
Am I
this is the
wrong?
difference. This is what Orville Peck told me in a conversation when I was asking him to for advice on drag queens that I work with that wanted to get a manager in music. He said, if they're playing your music on the radio, they're playing your music in Moxies, then you are a mainstream artist. And when I go to the bank,
Sure.
they play Troye Sivan. They're not playing Priyanka, and they're not playing. And that's no shade to
Sure.
these or Orville Peck. I mean, I've never heard Orville Peck on the radio. I don't listen to the radio a lot, but I've never been out and about and heard him. In he seems more fringe. Troye Sivan just kicked Drake out of the #1 spot on the Billboard Hot 100. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
he's
Well, there
mainstream
you go.
for sure.
Yep.
He's mainstream. Yeah, yeah, definitely mainstream. And I wonder, like, are there if he does have fans that are not drag race fans, like I'm assuming because he's gay, the people who like him will like all gay things or queer culture things, but that's not necessarily true. I wonder for the fans who maybe haven't seen a drag queen music video, they don't know how that would be possible. What they would interpret his expression of drag to be, especially for the young fans who maybe have crushes on him, but he's gay and maybe they're straight women.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. I don't. I'm pretty ambivalent towards his music, but I actually really like him as a figure. I like
Yeah,
what
me
he's
too.
doing.
Well,
I like how he's feeding the
yeah.
girls. He's keeping us fed.
Oh, he is. Yeah, I feel like everything he does, and I didn't get in trouble the last time we spoke about him, but people had opinions. And now like this topic that he's singing about, essentially the song is called One of Your Girls, and it's about hooking up with somebody who identifies as straight, and basically being whatever it is that they need you to be in that moment in order to have sex or hook up with them. And I just watched an interview with Troy where he was talking about what I mean, you and I have talked about this, the fetishization of straight men and how gay guys, not all, because I know that you're not one of these people, there's this like undying dream, fantasy, need to be validated by a straight man or to have sex with them. And Troy talked about his own experience happening and how, at the end of the night, they call you at 3 a.m. They've been partying. They suddenly want to, S a D. And so they give you a call, but there's no emotional attachment. And the exciting part of that is the physical, I guess, conquest or the physical experience, like, oh my God, it actually happened. But then the dark and sad side of that is they are not emotionally available and they don't really care about you, generally speaking, as people. Maybe they care about you as a friend, but it's never going to be romantic. And This has been an ongoing theme in my life, and I think about this a lot, and I thought about it once I saw Troy. Again, going back to Troy being so important for me as a human being, as a gay guy who's alive in the world, watching Troy Sivan, I think he's in his late 20s, talk about the fetishization of straight men in a mainstream pop interview was like, holy shit, these are conversations that have only either gone on with other gay guys or in my own head. And the fact that it's happening on a bigger scale now is really fucking cool and important to me. Like when I think back to why, Peter, are you so obsessed with straight guys and why has this been an ongoing theme for you? I know why. I didn't know any gay people growing up. So whenever I was close to a guy, they were straight. I didn't have any gay friends until I was like in my late teens. So all of the crushes that I had when I was in high school and first coming out were straight guys. So automatically that is where your desire is directed. Also, there wasn't a lot of queer celebrities in pop culture. So again, when you are fantasizing about men that you find attractive, by default, they were all straight. So already going through puberty and realizing that I'm gay, all of my desire is focused on these men that will never actually like me. That's one thing. Second, when I started partying and in the clubs, I attracted a lot of fucking straight guys. I was young, I was thin, I was feminine. I think it was comfortable enough for them that I wasn't like this big butch hairy guy that they were scared to have this experience. But it happened over and over and over and over again. I would meet these guys, they would have a crush on me. They said they've never been with a guy and that they're straight, and they're with women now, they're married, they have kids, but for whatever reason at that time in their life we had a moment, and it happened enough that I know that it's possible. That's the second thing. It's happened to me a million times. Third thing, porn. There's a lot of porn that focuses on the seduction of a straight guy. And I actually think this is dangerous because when you meet a straight guy and the feeling is reciprocated and you kind of have a flirty moment and you guys hook up, that's great. It's like a fun thing. But the other side can be true where like the feeling isn't reciprocated. You're projecting that experience onto this person and you're pushing for it and it's not going to happen. And you're putting the straight guy in a really uncomfortable situation and potentially dangerous if you cross the line, make him super uncomfortable and something bad happens. I think this is why a lot of trans sex workers end up in really violent situations, is because it's not all, well, sometimes the men might not know and sometimes they do, but they're repressed sexual energy and it's confusing for them. But I love and hate this about myself because I know that I've put myself in really risky situations and also maybe inappropriate situations where I was hoping something would happen and trying to make it happen and it wasn't going to happen. And I think this Troye Sivan music video has really brought up a lot of emotions for me. And I hope this conversation happens more because there are, first of all, if you're hooking up with a guy on Saturday night, you're not straight, you're bi, or maybe you're fluid, but like we need to stop saying these guys who hook up with boys are straight and they're just having this one-off thing. Straight people don't hook up with gay guys, right? They hook up with women.
I guess. I don't know. I don't know. I don't really care. I mean, I would identify as all the way 100% gay, but sometimes I think it could be nice to get a favor from a lady, like in a dark room, if she is built like a blow up doll, you know, if I can sort of dehumanize her because she's like a sex object, that I can get with that. But so I don't really care about the label, but I love that Troy can spark these conversations for us. It's actually really exciting, genuinely, that this is a mainstream pop figure who can talk about all these things that we've all experienced this. We're all aware of grappling with this as an issue, but no one has ever expressed it in a pop song before. It's genuinely really exciting. Now, yeah, I mean, it's true. Like when I was in high school, just like you, like there were just not gay people around, and you develop crushes, and if they're your close friends, you can kind of fall in love with your close straight friends, and that's a conundrum. So I think that does happen. And I think some people will say, well, there's a difference between love and lust. You are just in lust with straight guys. And I don't think that who's to say what someone is feeling? Like when not children, I guess, but when young adults develop crushes and start to feel like they're in love, who's to say that they're not in love? My love has changed. Like I love differently now. I love in a more healthy way now, but who's to say, right? You know, those Britney Spears songs, I Was Born to Make You Happy, melodramatic. They're about love. How can she know anything about love in the world? Well, we don't get to say who feels love when and where. So fine. But you know, as an adult, when I'm not inundated anymore by only being around straight people and there's no queer representation on TV, that, you know, there is all that. I have access to all that stuff now. I guess I find I guess I find continuing to fixate on straight guys as a fetish to be extremely creepy, because like sexually pressuring people just is extremely creepy. And I just feel like I've been around and I've been in enough scenarios where someone did seem to think being straight was in and of itself super hot, and would they would drop coy little hints to the straight guy, or they would turn to me and say, oh, I want to do this, or I want to see this, I want to see him do this, or like, oh, look when he bends over, isn't that great? And it creeps me right the fuck out, because it's all sexually pressuring stuff, and I like, no one deserves that. You know, so there's that. I really don't like it. And genuinely, like, I'm not attracted when I find out someone is straight, that it's like an automatic like wall goes up, and I'm like, okay, like I cannot be interested. I will not be interested. And it's not something I work for. I'm not. It's a turn off to not want me, you know? It's a turn off to me if you don't want me. Nothing is more attractive than being attracted to me. Which I guess makes me sound easy, and some would say I am. But so like, I guess like people, I can't help but find it homophobic, right? I can't help but find it internally homophobic to be obsessed with straight guys, because what are the qualities of being a straight man other than being straight, like, that you desire? I think it's being a real man, right? I think that's a dimension of it for a lot of people. I think that's a real man. So you're simultaneously saying you're not a real man, which is pretty self-hating, and also you're indicating that there is that it is in fact being gay that you hate. It couldn't be clearer, right? It's being gay that you hate, because if what you're attracted to is qualities, masculine qualities, well, anyone can have those. Gay men can have those, and in fact, many gay men do. Many gay men are way more traditionally masculine than straight men. Many, way more masculine, right? So it can't be that, because they'll say things like I've heard this before. Oh, I could be attracted to masculine qualities, but then they'll do something that gives them away, and I'm no longer attracted. And I'm like, what can a gay guy do that gives them away that a straight guy isn't capable of doing? Nothing. Did he move his wrist the wrong way? Did he order too fruity of a drink? No, clearly the thing you hate is that this person is gay. You do not like that they are gay, because there's no quality, no trait or behavior that can't be shared between both gay and straight guys.
Yeah.
Like, you've just admitted that what you hate is the fact that someone is gay.
I don't disagree. And I'm thinking about myself growing up and how there's two things. I mean, being gay and being teased is one thing. And I mean, you have to really find your confidence. And I think that I did, but I was also within the gay community not considered, like, when I say I wasn't considered desirable, it doesn't mean like people didn't want to fuck me and I didn't have sex with people. It was like when I was at a party, I was like the feminine flamboyant club kid, and I never felt like that was the desired thing. And you and I talked about this with Troye Sivan, right? So I think the straight guy thing for me too is like, yeah, there's a superiority in masculinity, and the pinnacle of masculinity is being straight and actually being homophobic and not liking gay guys. And logically, hearing you say that, it all makes sense. Emotionally, yeah, it's hard. I mean, I agree with you. I don't think anybody should be sexually pressured, and I cringe to think that I've ever done that to somebody. But there's a lot of problematic messaging within the gay community and within porn and within like just the world in general, where you have to really fight against these stereotypes. And there are a lot of hot masculine gay guys. You're right. Like, why wouldn't that be the object of your affection? We talked about the damn blank profiles on Grindr too, and it feels like you can be proactive about moving away from these, I guess, problematic attachments, and then also encounter them on an ongoing basis and have to be like, see, it is part of the experience. I'm not just making it up in my head. I mean, this is something a lot of gay guys experience. And you're absolutely right. I mean, I think at a young age, we internalize that being gay or being feminine is not sexually attractive. And so we I don't know when it happened. This is like honestly being so young, like I don't remember a moment when my focus turned to straight guys and I found them, oh my God, so fucking hot. It was probably a process and a journey, right? I'm sure that people who are coming out now in the world with Drag Race and Troy and lots of queer content on TV, they would just gravitate towards the people that they knew were gay. I'm thinking because there's also a smaller percentage of gay guys, I think it's inevitable that at some point you encounter somebody that you're attracted to who is straight because there's just less of us in the world. But you're right. It's definitely an internal struggle, I think, with acceptance and confidence and value for sure.
Yeah, and it's not. I'm not saying you can't picture a particular straight guy when you're fantasizing or anything like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I follow hot straight guys on Instagram. I clearly want to look at them and find them like sexually attractive, but it's not. It's not fetishizing them for being straight. It's literally just a visual, like a nice picture to look at for me. I don't know.
I'm curious how this will evolve for Troy and other people in the community and also pop culture at large. And I'm hoping that more people come out and talk about experiences like this. I've actually invited at least two like we weren't boyfriends, but we were definitely like kind of when we were in our early 20s, and I wanted to get them on to just talk about the experience. Like, do you want to come on and share it? But they're like, nope, can't do it. Like, just I'm too shy. And I wish they would, because I think destigmatizing it would make it like take away those weird, pressured, sexualized, fucking weird experiences and make guys feel like they could explore it without the pressure of feeling like they're gay suddenly because they're attracted to a guy once in their life. Same with you. I meet girls all the time where I'm like, I get it. I totally get it. Sexuality is a spectrum, honey. It's a speedometer, just like gender. It can come, it can time and place. Like there's different variables that go into why somebody is attracted to another person and why at some point they can acknowledge that person is attractive. I'm not going to pursue it though, or that person is attractive, and tonight's the night I want to try. Um, and long may Troye Sivan reign by guiding us towards these conversations. It's interesting. Like imagine 20 years ago, Justin Timberlake was the biggest pop star. And now, by the way, I'm so annoyed that I just bought a vintage Justin Timberlake concert t-shirt. And now all this stuff is coming out about him and Britney. Like,
I
no.
actually love that now, though. I love that for you now. It's like kind of like it's like a troll
Oh,
to wear that.
ooh, okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah,
Like
I like that.
standing Justin Timberlake after the like small penis allegations,
Yeah,
kind of based.
kind of based. Yeah, it's a cool shirt. Damn, he did not age. Like his whole image did not age well. Hey.
No, I mean, we've just looked back on so many moments and been like, oh, he was the asshole.
I mean, we kind of knew that, but I think we were skewed. Well, no, we like the rumor was Britney cheated on him, which I think she confirms in the book. I'm trying not to
But
read the
now it sounds
headlines.
like he cheated on her first, though, is what it sounds like.
Oh, fucking
That's
asshole.
there's I don't remember if that was one of the excerpts I read, but it
Oh,
was
Alyssa
someone,
Milano, wasn't it? From the Charmed, I
no
think.
idea.
Oh,
But I know that I read an article by someone who had read the book, and I don't remember if I read a direct excerpt saying that, but it really seemed like he had gone away and cheated first. Because I mean, they broke up when he did the Crimea River thing or whatever. Like they seem to have broken up right after she cheated. Basically, that seems to be
yeah.
the reason they broke up. So if he was already cheating while they were together, then obviously it was before they broke up.
Yeah.
So it seems like he did it first.
You and I have speculated about Britney's book if it was gonna be what we want it to be, and I don't think it is. I think she's gonna like as a super fan, I'm gonna be really into like the stories behind the scenes, things about like maybe other celebrities. That will like get me excited, but I already know from talking to people that she doesn't reveal her mental health diagnosis. She doesn't talk about lip syncing. I think she says her favorite drug was Adderall, which is like, okay,
Yeah.
womp womp. She talks about Paris. I know she talks about Christina, Madonna, Lindsay Lohan. That will all be juicy for me, but I think generally speaking, I'll get to the end of the book and be like, well, kind of already knew that.
Yeah. I mean, I've looked at like articles saying here are the, top 9 takeaways. None of them are revelations. Nothing
Yeah.
new. And it's in fact it looks like exactly what you and I talked about on this show, not wanting to see, not wanting to hear about the fucking Python performance. Because
Yeah.
who cares?
Who
Oh, she
cares?
says
Who
something about
cares?
it came up and hissed at me. And oh, okay. I don't give a fuck. I don't care about
Yeah.
any of her past performances. I don't care about her former glories.
Yeah.
Pun intended, glory. I just, it sounds like that's all it is. It's just things we knew, but Brittany telling it firsthand instead of it being told for her. And what that reveals, and without any new interesting details, right? And what that reveals is actually the secretive information we were getting about Britney Spears, or at least since the conservatorship has ended, has been totally accurate. These unnamed sources that feed information to the public about Britney Spears are true. They're correct.
Yeah. The one thing that I really was hoping that we'd get some clarity on is fucking Billy B. Remember Billy B was
I
like
really
Britney's
wanted
texting
to.
me all the time.
I want
What
to solve
happened
that.
to Billy B?
Your sound's
Oh my
doing that.
God.
Your sound's doing that thing again.
Oh, you know what? Here we go. Oh, hang on. Oh, I dropped it.
Hello, Kitty.
Do I sound normal now? No, it's not showing up. Hang on, I'm gonna do this. Oh, what the fuck?
Kitty. Yeah.
Like it's on, but it's
Now it's not on at all.
Yes, it is.
Okay. It sounds better now, I think.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. This microphone's old. Where were we? Yeah, we'll see what happens with the book.
I did get the audiobook on a popular audiobook site. I mean, we're not sponsored, so I'm not going to say, but you know the one. You can sign up for a free trial and you get 2 free credits, and then you can just instantly cancel so it doesn't auto renew, but you still get to keep your 2 credits.
But Derek, I was gonna buy you a copy and send it to your house.
I don't think we should spend any extra money on it.
Yeah. Also, what happens from here, it's like Brittany is so done with and she also deleted her fucking Instagram account, or like deactivated it again. And she was saying she wasn't happy with the headlines. What exactly weren't you happy with? Like, you didn't think people were going to talk about the fact that you're dishing on Justin Timberlake and that you had an abortion? Henny!
Is that the headline she's talking about?
Well, I mean, I don't know. She said it was not her intention to upset people.
Oh, okay.
She didn't want to it wasn't my intention to like bring up my past again.
I'm sorry. Sure it's a memoir. Yeah. I don't know what you wanted.
Yeah. Well, TBD. We'll see what happens. Okay. Anything else about Troy or global politics that you want to share?
No, said it all. We stand Troy.
We stand Troy. If he ever comes, we need to go see him. Kim Petras was just here, but I heard
the 26th.
Oh, she hasn't come yet. Wait.
How do I know this better than you? You're literally her booking agent.
Wait. I thought she was just here. Am I crazy? Okay, maybe I'm gonna have to go. Oh, I'll see if I can get us tickets.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see what I can do. And then we can recap and see what happens. But it's nice seeing you again. I need to go veg on the couch and like get over my Toronto hangover from talking to people. It's so hard being social.
Yeah, I know. And in bursts like that without a break, you need to rest. And I need to eat snacks.
Okay, well, that sounds like a great Saturday. Talk to you soon.
Bye.